come a little closer. Settle in. Because what I am about to share with you is something most people spend their entire lives chasing without ever realizing they were doing it wrong from the very beginning. If you have ever felt like the harder you try, the further away your dreams feel, I want you to know something before we go any further. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are not missing some secret gift that everyone else was given. You are simply caught in a pattern that almost no one talks about honestly. And today, we are going to break it open together. Let me ask you something first. Think back to the last time something wonderful came into your life unexpectedly. A friendship you did not go looking for. An opportunity that appeared when you had already given up on that door. A moment of peace that washed over you right after you stopped fighting so hard for it. Can you feel it? That ease, that gentle surprise, that sense of life saying, here you go, I had this for you all along. Now contrast that with the times you chased something desperately. You know what I mean. Refreshing your phone every 4 minutes. Rehearsing conversations in your head at 2 in the morning. Spinning the same worry like a hamster on a wheel, going nowhere but burning yourself out completely. In those moments, what actually arrived? More often than not, exhaustion arrived. More anxiety arrived. And the thing you wanted stayed just out of reach, almost as if it could smell your desperation and took a step back every time you lurched forward. This is not a coincidence. This is a law. Not the fake law people sell you in weekend seminars. The real law, the law of resonance. And once you understand it at a level deeper than a motivational quote on your phone screen, your entire relationship with life begins to change. Here is what most people get completely backwards. They believe that wanting something hard enough, trying hard enough, strategizing hard enough, suffering hard enough will eventually force the universe to deliver. They treat life like a vending machine. Put in enough coins of effort and the thing you want will drop. But life is not a vending machine. Life is more like a dance floor. And you cannot drag a willing partner across a dance floor. You can only move so beautifully, so freely, so confidently in yourself that they naturally want to move toward you. This is the difference between chasing and attracting, between forcing and allowing, between gripping and receiving. Now I am not going to tell you to stop caring. I am not going to whisper some spiritual bypass into your ear and say, just let go of everything and float away on a cloud of indifference. That is not wisdom. That is avoidance dressed in pretty language. What I am saying is something far more practical and far more powerful. There is a profound difference between caring and clutching, between desiring and depending, between hoping and catastrophizing. Caring says, I want this and I believe it is possible. Clutching says, I need this or I cannot survive. Caring feels open in your chest. Clutching feels tight in your throat. And your body knows the difference even when your mind tries to convince itself otherwise. Your nervous system is listening to every thought you think. It responds to belief, not just behavior. Let me tell you about a woman I once knew who wanted love more than anything. Every date she walked in already auditioning. Every conversation, she was mentally checking boxes. Every silence, she was catastrophizing about what it meant. And of course, every connection eventually collapsed under the weight of her need. Not because she was unlovable. Quite the opposite. She was extraordinary. But she was broadcasting a signal that said, I am incomplete, and complete people do not tend to be drawn toward incompleteness. The day she stopped searching was not the day she gave up on love. It was the day she got so absorbed in building a life she genuinely loved, one full of color and meaning and her own particular joy, that she forgot to be desperate. She became whole, and a whole person is magnetic in a way that half-searching people simply never are. Within 4 months, she met someone who changed her life. This is not a fairy tale. This is physics. Like attracts like. Not just in relationships. In every single area of your life. So let us talk about what you are actually broadcasting right now. Because this is where the real work begins, and it is gentler than you think. There are 3 fundamental energies we can live from moment to moment. The first is chasing energy. Chasing energy is tight, urgent, and anxious. It says, I am not okay yet. I will be okay when. It operates from a place of lack, and lack has a very particular vibration. It repels the very thing it reaches for because it is always screaming, it is not here, it is not here. Look how much it is not here. And life, being the faithful mirror that it is, simply reflects that truth right back, confirms it, expands it. The second energy is choosing energy. Choosing energy says, I would love this, and I am also fundamentally okay whether it arrives or not. This is not apathy. This is dignity. This is the quiet confidence of someone who trusts themselves enough to know they will be all right regardless. And that confidence is extraordinarily attractive because it is rare. Most people have outsourced their okayness to outcomes. Choosing people carry their okayness with them. The third energy is allowing energy. And this is where I want you to spend more of your time. Allowing energy does not chase, and it does not wait passively either. Allowing energy moves, it acts, it creates. But it holds its outcomes loosely, the way you hold a butterfly, tight enough to keep it close, open enough not to crush it. Allowing says, I trust that life is always working toward my highest good, even when I cannot see it yet. Especially when I cannot see it yet. Most of us live almost entirely in chasing energy and wonder why we are perpetually exhausted. Now here is something I want you to sit with for a moment. The thing you most desperately want, whether it is love, financial ease, creative breakthrough, healing, belonging, has almost certainly been available to you in some form for longer than you realize. But chasing energy creates a kind of static, like trying to listen to beautiful music through a radio that is not quite tuned. The music is playing, you just cannot quite receive it. The question is never whether life is trying to deliver to you. The question is always whether you are tuned to receive. So how do we tune ourselves? How do we shift from chasing to choosing to allowing without it feeling like a performance? Because the moment self-improvement becomes another thing to chase, we are right back where we started. The first and most important step is what I call honest noticing. Not judgment, not self-criticism, just noticing. During your day-to-day, simply watch where your energy goes. Are you checking something compulsively? Rehearsing something anxiously? Dreading something that has not happened yet? When you notice those patterns, do not scold yourself. Instead, get curious. Say very gently, oh interesting, there is that chasing pattern again. What am I actually afraid of underneath this behavior? Because chasing is never really about the thing you are chasing. It is almost always about a deeper belief that you are somehow not enough to simply receive. That you have to earn everything through strain, that rest is failure and ease is laziness and good things only come to people who suffer sufficiently first. This belief, this incredibly common and incredibly destructive belief, is the root of all chasing energy, and simply seeing it clearly begins to dissolve it. The second step is what I call declaring your worthiness out loud. I know that might sound simple, even silly, but there is something profoundly powerful about speaking a new truth into the air before your body fully believes it. Something like, I am someone who receives with ease. I am someone who trusts the timing of my life. I am someone who is enough right now in this moment without changing a single thing. Say these things not as magic spells but as seeds. A seed does not bloom the moment you plant it. But something begins beneath the surface immediately. Your subconscious is always listening. Give it something worth hearing. The third step is my favorite, and it is practical in a way that cuts through spiritual noise. Focus on alignment over outcome. Instead of asking when will this arrive, ask who do I need to be today? Not who do I need to pretend to be, not what do I need to perform. Who do I genuinely need to be? More rested perhaps, more playful, more present with the people already in my life. More honest about what I actually want instead of what I think I should want. When you align yourself, truly align yourself, the outcomes have a strange and beautiful way of organizing themselves around you. Now I want to speak directly about the area of life where chasing does the most damage, and that is love. Because love is where our deepest fears live, and where our most desperate behaviors emerge. When we love from a place of fear, we cling, we over-explain. We make ourselves smaller to avoid rejection, or larger than we really are to seem more impressive. We text twice when we said we would wait. We rehearse conversations that will never happen. We check their online status like detectives on a stakeout. And in doing all of this, we do not become more lovable. We become exhausting, mostly to ourselves, but also eventually to others. Real love, the kind that lasts and feeds you rather than depletes you, begins with the love you give yourself when no one is looking. When you are tired and unglamorous and uncertain. When you have made a mistake and your inner critic is sharpening its knives. In those moments, if you can find 1 ounce of genuine gentleness for yourself, you are practicing the most powerful form of attraction there is. Because the energy you carry into a room is always your relationship with yourself on display, and someone grounded in genuine self-love walks differently, speaks differently, listens differently. They are not scanning the room for validation, they are simply present, and presence, real presence, is the most magnetic quality a human being can possess. Now I want to address something that comes up every single time this conversation happens. What about effort? What about ambition? What about the very real and necessary work of building a life? Are we supposed to just sit back and breathe deeply and wait for things to fall from the sky? Absolutely not. Effort matters deeply. Action matters deeply. The difference is the energy underneath the action. Two people can do identical tasks, one from chasing energy and one from allowing energy, and the results will be profoundly different. Not because of luck, but because their internal state shapes how they show up, what they notice, what opportunities they recognize, how other people respond to them. Chasing energy acts from fear. Allowing energy acts from faith. Both are working. One is building something sturdy. One is building something that will always need to be chased again tomorrow. Let me give you something concrete to carry with you today. Pick one area of your life where you have been in full chase mode. Just one. And for the next 24 hours, make one simple agreement with yourself. Every time you feel the urge to grasp, to check, to force, to worry that specific thing, you are going to pause for 10 seconds and breathe, and then you are going to say quietly to yourself, I release the need to control this. I trust life to meet me here. Then, and this is the most important part, you are going to do something kind for yourself, not as a reward, not as a coping mechanism, as a declaration that you are worthy of care right now, not after the thing arrives, not when the situation resolves. Right now, in this moment of uncertainty, notice what shifts. Not in the circumstances, not yet, but in you, in your shoulders, in your breathing, in the quality of your thoughts. That shift is not nothing. That shift is everything. That is you learning, perhaps for the first time, what it feels like to be someone who receives rather than someone who chases. Here is the truth I want to leave sitting in your chest long after this is over. You are not behind. Say it to yourself right now fully. You are not behind. You are not too late. You did not miss the moment. You are not somehow excluded from the good things that are possible in this world. You are unfolding, and unfolding cannot be rushed any more than a flower can be grabbed open by impatient hands. It happens in its own sequence, in response to the right conditions. And your only job, your one beautiful assignment, is to create the internal conditions for your own blooming. Less grasping, more presence, less performing, more truth, less chasing, more trusting. Take a breath right now, just one full breath. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your own body, solid and real. This is where your life is actually happening, not in the future you are dreading or demanding. Here, now, in this breath. This is the energy that magnetizes everything worth having. You do not need to chase what was always meant to find you. You only need to make yourself findable. You only need to stay here, open, trusting, and exactly yourself. And when you are ready, tell me in the comments, what is one thing you are ready to stop chasing today? Not because you are giving up on it, but because you trust it knows your name.